Hello and welcome to the Mr. Monster YouTube channel. I'm Mr. Monster. All stories told on this channel are written and owned by me. So please enjoy today's story, Mirrored. Steven woke up to see his wife, Misha, sleeping next to him in bed. Just behind her was the shadow of a man. Steven jumped out of bed, grabbing the lamp on his nightstand in the process. His plan was to hit the intruder over the head and then hopefully get his wife out of bed to safety. But when he stood up to look at the man, he froze. He was staring into his own eyes. The man looked just like him, but mirrored and in a black suit. The mirrored man did not blink. The reflected Steven smiled at Steven and put his finger up to his lips in a shushing motion, then pointed to Misha. Steven looked at the bed to see his wife. She looked wrong. Her face was reversed, also a mirror image. The woman on the bed sat up, climbed out from under the sheets, and smiled while she did so. She was in a black dress. She stood right next to the mirrored man and was staring at Steven unblinkingly. "Steven!" whispered a scared and frantic voice. Steven turned around and realized it was Misha's voice coming from the closet. He threw the door open and grabbed his wife's hand. She was still in the oversized t-shirt and beat-up gym shorts she used as pajamas. They ran downstairs and out of the house. They made it across the front lawn and to the sidewalk. Misha stopped then, yanking Steven's arm back. "What? What are you doing?" he asked. "Sally and Michael." Steven's eyes widened, realizing that in his paralyzing fear he had forgotten to get their kids out. Without hesitation, the couple sprinted back into the house. Misha's throat was starting to hurt. She realized she hadn't run this hard in ages. They sprinted to the children's room and saw the mirror images of themselves. The mirrored Steven and Misha were standing over the kids, petting their heads. The mimics must have removed the sheets and the comforter to get a better look at the children, because they were ruffled at the end of the children's beds. Misha and Steven froze, not knowing what to do. The man and the woman, standing at opposing sides of the room with the twin beds, turned their heads unnaturally. The mirrored pair's necks were shifting and crackling. They both put their fingers to the lips and made a shushing sound. The man next to Sally slowly began to have bones and joints pop and shoot out without breaking its skin, all the while shrinking and shrinking. Then Steven and Misha realized that what was once the mirror image of Steven was now the mirror image of Sally, their daughter. The woman did the same, turning into the mirror image of Michael. The mirror images of the children were both wearing the pajamas that the 8-year-old twins were. Steven stepped back into the hallway that led to his bedroom as the two childlike figures stepped closer. Sad expressions on their faces, staring without blinking. When Steven stepped back, he realized that he was standing on a photo. He picked it up to see that it was a framed photograph of him and his wife in a black suit and a black dress. The photo had been taken a few years back when they went to a friend's dinner party. Thinking quickly, Steven stepped forward and looked to the corner of the room where the children kept 2 photos of their cats that had passed away. He lunged and picked up one of the photos. The fake Sally tried to wrestle it away, but he flipped the image and the fake Sally began to crack, as its body shrank and shrank. Steven grabbed the other cat photo as the mirror of Michael jumped on his back and scratched at his neck. Steven spun around, and the force of the photo in front of Steven spun around and forced the photo in front of the fake Michael. It too began to crack and shrink. Sally started waking up. She rubbed her eyes and mumbled something in her confusion. "Mom? Dad? Why are you waking us up? It's Saturday." Quickly, Steven grabbed the fake cats and ran downstairs, not stopping to explain. Misha thought quickly. "Oh, Miss Jenna's cats got out and snuck into our house. We were just grabbing them for her." This answer seemed to satisfy Sally, who promptly fell back asleep. Misha slowly closed the door and ran downstairs. She saw Steven holding the fake cats by their heads, one in each hand. He was covering their eyes with the palms of his hands. "What are we going to do with them?" Misha asked. Steven only shook his head and said, "Grab a pair of socks and cut holes in the toes." She did so, quickly, and then they promptly put the socks over the mimic cats' heads, blinding them. Steven grabbed both fake cats, put them into an old crate they had, went to his car, and then drove away. Misha was left standing in the garage doorway leading to the house, wondering where he went. A few hours later, Steven returned. He had had some cat scratches on him, but other than that, he looked fine. "What did you do with them?" Misha said. Steven answered, "What I had to," ending the conversation. It was clear by the tone of Steven's voice he was not interested in discussing it further at the current moment. The couple didn't speak to anyone about the incident. Perhaps they didn't think anyone would believe them, or perhaps they were worried that the neighbors would think they were mentally ill. Whatever the reason, no one ever found out. One afternoon, Michael was playing in the yard with his toy bulldozer. He had a bunch of rocks, and he was piling them up and knocking them down in different ways with the toy. Michael looked up to see a little rabbit hopping along. The rabbit looked at him intently, and Michael could have sworn it raised its front foot to its mouth and said, "Shh." I hoped you enjoyed this reading of the story, Mirrored. I worked on this one more recently, and although it's short and sweet, I think it's entertaining. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any stories that you would like to give me for inspiration to write, please comment them down below. And if you want to hear more short stories, particularly horror shorts, subscribe to the channel. And I hope you have a great day. Goodbye.